Hi, everyone, and welcome to this installment of our Foundation for Free Enterprise Education speaker series. My name is Scott Lee, and today I'm really excited to have with us a huge supporter and friend of the Foundation, and a friend to me personally, Pam Henshall. Pam is the president of the Greater Northeast Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce, and today she will be speaking to us about how to develop your personal brand and the importance of flexibility as you move through your career and life. She'll also tell us what skills you'll need to help you stand out from the crowd. Pam holds a degree in business administration from the College of New Jersey and graduated from the MBA-style Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. She has worked in the chamber industry for 24 years and has also owned her own marketing company. She sits on several local boards, and she is passionate about supporting the environment and helping people with disabilities. She also volunteers at PFEW as a marketing judge every summer. She has two grown children, and in her spare time, she enjoys gardening, stained glass, and antiques. But her true passion is live music, and she will go just about anywhere to go to a live performance. Pam, it's great to have you today. Welcome.
Thank you, Scott. I'm excited to be here.
Good deal. So listen, I got to ask right before we get into the content, what's the best concert you ever been to?
Oh, good question. Boy, you didn't send that over. Oh my gosh. You know what? I hit every venue possible. I like big concerts. Like I'm in Philadelphia, and I'm born and raised in South Jersey. So the WXPN, University of Pennsylvania, does a big festival every year. I've been going to that, taking my kids when they were little. That's an annual event. But I will appreciate walking through the streets of New York City and seeing somebody who's just has a tub turned upside down and he's just sitting on it. So really, I think that there's everything in between. If you can carry a tune,
fantastic.
I'm your audience.
Good deal. All right, so listen, one of your hallmarks is flexibility and adaptation. What do you think is the best skill to possess as you prepare for your life after high school, progress through your career? How do you maintain that flexibility, and how do you adapt to change?
I think you have to be conscious of the fact that you don't have all the answers. You have a perspective, but you don't have the answers. And I think that flexibility is where it comes into play, regardless of where you are in your professional career. You can be well into your golden years and have had 50 plus years experience, but that doesn't mean that there isn't room for growth and learning. And I really think that the flexibility of accepting that there is somebody who has a perspective that you can understand and take away some golden nuggets from is really the key to everything in life. Professional life, your personal life, anything. If you volunteer on boards, if you go to concerts and you meet somebody next to you, I think that it really needs to be that respect level of that there are others have something to offer that you can gain, and to keep that open mind as you move forward.
Boy, that advice is fantastic. Now more than ever, I think we can all agree about that. So you've had a long career in the chamber business, but you've also had some challenges and been forced to improvise and change a little bit. Talk a little bit about how you navigated some of those challenging times and what you relied on to get you to where you're at now.
I think what I relied on, the fact that you can't take things personally, even though it's so easy to turn around and say, well, poor me, this is happening to only me, and this is the worst thing in my entire life. You're allowed to have those feelings, and you're allowed to be in that place, but only for a short period of time. And then you need to pull it together, and then you need to stop, and you need to figure out, all right, what's my next step? Because you will hit those bumps in the road from now until the end of time. As long as you are here, you will always have those bumps in the road. Some are going to be mountains, and some are going to be the size of a pebble. But the how you approach these challenges is really how successful you will end up approaching all of these challenges. Think of water. Water takes the path of least resistance. If a water is coming down a mountain, and if it hits a barrier, it moves to another direction and finds another path. And then it hits another barrier and it moves direction to another path. So if you take the path of least resistance by staying focused and understanding that change is part of the game, that I think that you'll end up accepting things a little bit easier, and you'll still have that poor me, but you won't stay there. And that's the danger, is you cannot stay there, and you cannot say it's somebody else's fault. You just have to take fault out of it and figure out what's the next best move in order to move forward.
Also, great advice. Don't play the blame game. And what you just said reminded me, for those Harry Potter fans out there, when you're caught in the devil's snare, I think it is, your first reaction, it tries to entwine you. Your first reaction is to fight it and everything like that. And all you have to do is relax, and it'll let you go. So follow that path. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. So look, you've said it's very important to know yourself and also to know your audience. What exactly did you mean by that when we were talking before?
Okay, you've heard the saying, okay, boomers,
Yeah.
right? The Gen Zs are saying that, which may be a good part of the audience here. Okay, boomers. That is a dangerous thing as you move forward in your career. And I'll explain why. Because when you need to know your audience, you need to understand who are you addressing on every level, whether it be an educator, whether it be a future employer, whether it's a colleague, whether it's your parents, whether it's your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, children. You have to understand your audience, and you have to understand their perspective. The way I describe things is everything has a sphere. Everything is a sphere, and everybody has a different viewpoint of that sphere. Doesn't make them right or wrong, it just makes it coming from their perspective. So when you take a step back and you know how you will handle a situation and what's important to you, but taking a step back and a break and understanding somebody else's perspective and what you can learn from that is paramount. The okay boomer, which I am right on the cusp. I will say I identify with Gen X, but I'm on the last year boomer. But I will tell you that is it's anybody who has that mindset is you're going to do yourself a disservice because of the fact that your boomer employer is going to have an expectation level and has been doing their profession for so long. They have reasons of why they are conducting their business in the manner that they are conducting their business. However, that doesn't mean they can't bring to the table some fresh ideas and new insight and some new thoughts, but you have to understand the reason why this has already happened, why these systems are put in place before you can then bring your ideas in, because sometimes once you peel that onion back a few different layers, you start to realize that, oh, that really does make sense anyway. So when I say know your audience, if you're in sales and you have a customer, you have to understand what your customer is looking for. You don't sell somebody a pencil when they have only a computer. You don't sell them a computer when all they care about is writing with pencil. So you really need to understand and ask questions to be probing to understand what their perspective and what their desires are.
Absolutely great advice. Yeah, that is very, very true in all lines of work. It doesn't matter what career you're in. Being able to catch more flies with honey, as they say. So you need to really, humble yourself and learn from other people. Be willing to learn from other people. Also, be able, to have the courage to put forth your own ideas. That is fantastic advice. So let's get a little bit into branding now. You're all about branding, Pam. You always have been. Including this whole concept of personal branding. I'm an old dinosaur. I am a baby boomer. So speak to exactly what is personal branding, how can young people get started in creating their personal brand, and why it's so important.
Everybody, regardless of your professional level or age level, is an expert in a field. You're expert or an expert in topics or a subject or what have you. You are an expert in some aspect of your life. And when you identify as an expert in these fields, ideas, concepts, or what have you, you then are creating your personal brand within that thought. I'm not going to say industry because it could be just a thought. So what you need to do is you need to cultivate that brand and cultivate the opportunity for you to be identified as the go-to person for this particular thought, idea, action, what have you. And doing that is you need to understand where your platform is. So if we talk about social media, that social media has some very negative connotation. And I know at the young people here that'll be listening to this think it's all great and unicorns and rainbows, but It's not, and it will follow you through life. So if you want to take a step back and you want to be viewed as a leader, an expert, or what have you, focus on the social media platform like a LinkedIn in order to be able to share your information, to be able to gain a follower. So when somebody has a need, they know to contact you. And their personal brand is, it carries you through life as well, even in your personal life. If you feel as though that you would like to have an elevated level of respect that you would like to have earned, you need to behave in that manner in order to earn the respect. And because I'm old, there was a saying as I was coming up in my professional career, it was something as simple of, when you dress for work, you dress as if you were the boss. And it's an old adage, but it still applies. So maybe it may not mean the physical dress, but it still means the manner in how you conduct yourself. So you want to conduct yourself in a manner with your personal brand as that you're already moving to that next level. And if you start behaving that way now, it ends up preparing you as you continue on. And that is a personal brand, because you're only promoting yourself, not just, and then your profession and your business or what else will come along with you.
Okay, so help me out here. What would you say to the young people out there right now who are watching this and saying, I don't know what I'm an expert in nothing. I don't know. I don't have any skills. I don't have any talents. I don't know what she's talking about. How does that person start building a personal brand, and how can they figure out, what their successes are, or what their talents are? What would you suggest to them that they do?
Taking a step back and looking at their environment. Looking at who are your friends, look at your family environment, look at your school environment, look at if you have a part-time job. What do you excel in within these environments? Are you the person that your friends will go to for advice? Are you the friend? Are you the coworker or the employee that your boss will say, you know what, I need this specific task done. I'm going to ask so-and-so to do it, and that's you. So therefore, what you're doing is you're elevating yourself and your brand to being the go-to person for a specific task. Well, then that's your talent. That's your expertise. So how do you turn that around and translate that into your professional career? If you are the person that your friends come to for advice, that means you have good listening skills. You may have some even-keeled thought process in order to give advice. So how do you then turn that into something that you can move forward? Not everybody has that skill. So take it within your family environment. Where do you fall within your family environment? What do you excel within the family environment? What are your skills? Were you in extracurricular activities? You may not have been the captain of the football team, but you know what? If you were the water person, you still were a vital team member in that team. So how do you translate what role you played in that environment, and how can you move forward? So that's where I feel as though that young people have far more to offer than they give themselves credit for. And I think that you have to stop and think in order to move forward.
Perfect. Yeah. What I heard from that is that you really need to know yourself well.
Yes.
And then you can start developing your brand. That's fantastic advice. So you spoke a little bit about skills. So what are some of the soft skills or forgotten skills that you recommend that everybody develop, no matter what they're going to go into, and why are those skills so important?
Well, I think I've touched on this throughout all of our questions so far, but listening is the number one skill. Stop talking. Start listening. It doesn't mean you cannot share, but you have to listen before you understand what you can share. Because if you're listening and absorbing and learning, then what you're going to share may change. From your beginning of the conversation to the end of the conversation, you may have a different thought process. So sitting back and listening to your every person in your inner bullseye circle, from your inner circle, the center of the bullseye, to every ring on the outside, gives you an opportunity to be able to develop a path and a thought of where you would like to be. To me, that's the number one soft skill. And coming into, if it's in a hiring environment on who I'm looking to hire, I have more value to an employee who comes in with the eager willingness to learn, rather than the eager, you lost my words here, but rather than coming in with an agenda, I will say, in order to change, and I want to be the vice president within the next 6 months. And somebody like that, in my opinion, again, know your audience, is somebody that they would not last in my firm at all. But somebody who's coming in to say, I want to absorb and learn everything I can, and then they're the more successful professionals. So they're the two skills.
Well, that's perfect. And it's a perfect segue into the next question. So when you're considering hiring someone, what stands out to you, or what impresses you about a person, in that interview process? What are some things that people should definitely do, and some things that people should definitely avoid, in your opinion?
I think that what they should do is to highlight their assets. And that doesn't mean you only highlight, like if you're coming from a high school environment and you've been the student council president, or again, the captain of the football team, or the major or majorette of the marching band. I was a band person, by the way, everybody. Those folks already will have those on their resumes. But I think it's very important to be able to translate your successes, regardless of what the level of those successes were, when you're in an interview, because it shows teamwork, and it shows leadership. And leadership doesn't necessarily mean the CEO. Leadership can be if you're looking at a corporate structure, you have your CEO, you have board of trustees, you have your CEO, you have your receptionist, who is the gatekeeper. I have said for my entire career, the receptionist and the gatekeeper is probably the most integral part of the entire corporation, because if she doesn't agree with it, it's not happening, because nowhere are you going to get through this. So make sure that you showcase your skills. Make sure that you showcase the fact that you are a team player. Nobody wants to look for somebody who's going to come in and take over. Somebody is looking for somebody who wants to collaborate. Also show the fact that you are creative enough that you have some ideas and you would like to learn, so maybe you could develop it and share some ideas. From an interview, you don't have any ideas, okay? So that's not what you lead with. But if you can exhibit some of your behaviors in previous environments that you had some ideas and share it, then that's possible. What not to do: don't come in as if you know everything. It all comes hand in hand. I mean, this is start part of the same conversation. And I've had some very interesting interviews that I've interviewed some interns, especially interns, because I think that interns have a very inflated opinion on their skill set. And there's nothing wrong with feeling that way, but the reality is you really need to take a step back. And my number one pet peeve when I interview somebody who has not done any homework on the organization they're interviewing for. That is if you walk in the door and I say to somebody, do you know anything about a Chamber of Commerce? Do you know anything about our organization? And when they say no, my mental checkbox is closed, because they didn't do their homework. They don't want the job that badly, because if they would have just Googled it, they could have gone to the homepage and had more information in 10 minutes, and at least to have said anything, something, even just the address.
Yeah.
But that is my number one pet peeve, not doing their research.
Great advice. And with today's internet and the access to information, there's no excuses. So I hope everybody heard that out there.
That's right.
Well, listen, Pam, this 20 minutes has gone by lightning fast. I can't believe we're wrapping it up here, but it's been great content. Are there any final thoughts that you want to leave with our audience as regard to personal branding, knowing themselves, knowing their audience, anything that you want to leave them with as a final thought?
Find a mentor. I give this advice that find a mentor, find several mentors in your life, not just one. Find several mentors who give you the skills and the preparation for you to be a better citizen, a better employee, a better future leader, a better family member, a better friend. Find multiple mentors in all aspects of your life. And also, more importantly, learn from the people you encounter through life who you feel as though you do not want to emulate. I've actually learned more from those I disagreed with and I felt as though were a negative force than I did from those who were positive, because the positive forces were just reinforced something that I thought all along because it's part of my core, but the negative stuck with me, because then I would move forward and say, all right, I remember this person handling this situation in this way. I know I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to do that. So there are two sides to that coin. So I really pay attention.
That is fantastic. And by the way, that is the liquid gold of this entire thing. And I hope people will rewind this section and listen to that 5 or 10 times, because that is absolutely fantastic. Pam, what a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for your dedication to not only the young people that you're serving today, but coming to PFUW every year and hanging out with us and seeing what we do and helping out the next generation of leaders. You're the best. Thanks for your friendship. I wish you well. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn more about Pam or you want to talk to her more personally, her contact information will appear after this video. But Pam, again, thanks so much. I appreciate everything you do for us. It's wonderful seeing you today.
It's my pleasure, and I want to be your #1 fan.
All right, very good.
All right, take care.
You too.